What's going on, guys? This is Tower number 9, and we are coming to you here with a game between Faith and Endless. Faith on the left is playing IG-88, the Ruthless Bounty Hunter. And, sorry, they just made me player color black there. So we have IG-88, the Ruthless Bounty Hunter, playing against Han Solo, both of them using the Energy Conversion Lab. So IG-88 action, attack with a unit. If you control more units than the defending player, the attacker gets +1 power for this attack and deploys at 5 or more resources as a 5/4. Initial plays, we see a partisan insurgent here for Faith. Endless gets a extra resource and plays the Echo Base Defender on the first turn using Han's smuggled resource there. A 4/3 with Sentinel. He has that partisan insurgent a little outgunned. Faith comes out with a forced choke though, defeating the Echo Base Defender, but it does allow Endless to draw a card. This is the downside of forced choke. 2 cost force event. If you control a force event, this event costs 1 less to play. Deal 5 damage to a non-vehicle unit. That unit's controller draws a card. Endless is going to bring out another solid 3-drop here with Ezra Bridger, resourceful troublemaker. 3 cost 3/4, Force Rebel Spectre. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top of your deck. And Faith is going to just take the initiative here rather than using his Partisan Insurgent. I guess it only swings for 1 since he does not currently have another aggression unit on the field. Faith thinking hard about his resource decision. Looks like currently in hand, he ends up going with the Ardent Sympathizer here. So this is an interesting card. 3 cost 3/3 generic trooper. So not Rebel or Imperial, and just a aggression icon. While you have the initiative, this unit gains +2 power. Fifth Brother hits the field. 3 cost 2/4. This unit gains raid 1 for each damage on him. He gets +1 power while attacking for each damage on him. On attack, you may deal 1 damage to this unit and 1 damage to another ground unit, Fourth Imperial and Inquisitor. Ooh, a shoot first from Ezra. Attack with a unit gets +1 for this attack and deals combat damage before the defender. And Ezra defeats the Fifth Brother there. Ezra's ability also in effect gets to see that top card. It looks like he decides to leave it back on the top of the deck. And now that Partisan Insurgent nerfed back down to 1 damage. So Partisan Insurgent, if you can get another aggression unit on the field while you have the Partisan Insurgent in play, it does get raid 2 for a ultimate 3/4 stat line on the offense, which is very strong for a 2-drop unit. But you have to have another aggression unit in order to get that bonus. And Endless has been able to clear the Fifth Brother before Partisan Insurgent could swing with the buff. So that attack ends up only dealing 1 damage to Endless's base rather than 3. Yeah, okay. So now we're going to go to this next turn here. We'll see what happens. 5 resources. We could see Endless deploying Han this turn if he uses Han's ability to get a temporary resource. IG-88 can deploy this turn and is a 5/4, but unfortunately could be immediately defeated by Ezra Bridger. IG-88 is deploying. There he is. So IG-88, each other friendly unit gains raid 1. They have +1 power while attacking. 5/4 and immediately defeated. Ouch. That is going to be the new strike true. A friendly unit deals damage equal to its power to an enemy unit. So that's going to be 5 damage there. Takes IG-88 out of the game. Um, Unfortunately, this is sort of the weakness of IG-88. The low HP, pretty easy to remove. Faith ends up going for an Imperial Interceptor. When played, you may deal 3 damage to a space unit. Clears the wing leader that had buffed Ezra. Ezra can attack and defeat the Partisan Insurgent here, though, in one shot, and it does indeed do so. taking 1 damage there. Looks at that top card and leaves it on top. It looks like it was a shoot first. So now we're probably going to see Battlefield Marine played after Faith takes the initiative, and that's exactly right. Battlefield Marine, classic 2 cost 3/3. And he does use his remaining card to ramp into Han. Han hits the base for 4. I think they missed the temp resource for Han. So this, so that card that he saw on the top of the deck with Ezra should have actually been the temp resource, which he then discarded. So he loses the shoot first. Um, Little interesting situation there where you actually maybe want to do the reverse of normal. Okay, so they've corrected that. So Han's ability here on attack, I believe that is a mandatory ability. You cannot choose not to make a resource and have to discard from your deck, even if it's something that's not necessarily that helpful for you. Ooh, overwhelming barrage, dealing 5 damage, and all that damage is sent to Ezra Bridger to get him off the board. He does have 5 HP. I think Faith correctly identifying Ezra as a very high profile threat. Endless thinking about his next play could use a could send in Bright Hope here. So I think if I were Endless, I would actually want to attack with my Battlefield Marine and then play Bright Hope to return the Battlefield Marine in order to get a card draw because he's kind of low on cards right now. And I think, but I think doing it this way has the advantage of preventing the Interceptor from doing 5 to base. So Bright Hope absorbs that damage from the Interceptor. The Interceptor is destroyed at the end of the turn. Technically, it's still in play. Really, okay, yeah. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like Endless immediately takes the initiative after that Interceptor attacks. The Interceptor is defeated at the end of the turn when its temporary HP wears off, and now Endless is kind of in the driver's seat here. He seems to be pretty stabilized in both arenas. Ooh, and a spark of rebellion here for Endless. I think, ooh, so we could see an ATST ambush that would take out Han here, and that seems pretty likely to be what happens next. Yeah, there we go. ATST ambush with the energy conversion lab defeating Han. So player unit that costs 6 or less from your hand, give it ambush for this phase. ATST arrives dealing 6 damage. Overwhelm doesn't go into effect because Han has exactly 6 HP, but he is defeated. So now Endless could trade the Battlefield Marine for the ATST, but opts to hit the base instead. I think he's thinking of using Han Reluctant Hero to pick off the ATST. However, the Faith then does take the initiative, so that ATST is going to get a chance to make another attack. Could defeat the Battlefield Marine and deal 3 damage to the base. Would be a trade though. And Faith, thinking about his resourcing here, has another ATST in hand. This could be interesting. So an interesting thing here about Faith's deck is it has a lot of kind of heavy stuff. Um, Despite being an IG-88 aggro, it is not focused all on small stuff. So yeah, Faith takes the attack with his Battlefield Marine, inflicting 3 overwhelm. So overwhelm here when attacking an enemy unit, deal excess damage to the opponent's base. So the 3 damage defeats the Battlefield Marine, the remaining 3 hits the base. Um, Br Bright Hope swings in for 2 damage to Faith's base, and another ATSD hits the field. And this should probably just play the Battlefield Marine here. Yeah, that's what he goes for. He can then maybe do some damage and then send in Han Solo. Ends up being kind of a low impact turn for him though. I think Faith's like big end game might end up actually taking this. We'll have to see. It was looking like Endless had pretty good control earlier, but now the like, the ATSTs and stuff are hitting the field here. Han Solo, Reluctant Hero, takes out the ATST after the ATST defeats the Battlefield Marine. Yeah, so I point that out. There should be three more damage from Overwhelm. Then the Ruthless Raider hits the field when played. Deal 2 damage to enemy base, 2 damage to enemy unit. Does 2 damage to Endless's base and 2 damage to Han Solo Reluctant Hero. So Han Solo Reluctant Hero here with the permanent ambush effect, or the permanent shoot first effect. Very dangerous unit. So he, even though he's taken some damage, he could still do a lot of damage to Faith's board, but I think that Faith has set this up on purpose so that he can use Agent Callus here to clear Han. Oh man, Endless does not take the attack with Han. He plays Spark of Rebellion, but there's two copies of Agent Callus. So he can look at the opponent's hand and discards a card, but he cannot stop Agent Callus from taking out Han here because there are two copies. That is a very unfortunate development for Endless. He gets rid of one of the copies of Agent Callus, and then the second one is going to show up, trade with Han. And then Faith gets a card draw. All right, Faith and Endless now squaring off, but it seems like it's Faith who's gained the advantage on the board here. Faith's Faith's Raider here, the Ruthless Raider, is kind of the top dog in the space arena, and Endless has no more ground presence here. Hello. Yeah, we're gonna have to see what happens. It could be kind of crazy. Could be kind of crazy. What's gonna happen next? Let's see here. Okay, we're gonna go to Faith's turn here, it looks like. Well, a little bit of damage from these small guys. Seventh Sister hits the field, kind of an unusual card. So Seventh Sister, 3/6 Force Imperial Inquisitor with Saboteur. When this unit deals combat damage to an opponent's base, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit that opponent's controls. A Lothal Insurgent hits the field. When played, if you played another card this phase, each opponent draws a card, then discards a random card from their hand. The random discard draws this Fallen Lightsaber and then discards another Seventh Sister. So ironically, might have actually improved Fate's hand here, since he can now potentially have a lightsaber for that Seventh Sister and get some dangerous synergy. The Ruthless Raider swings in for 4 damage as well. Initiative taken by Endless, and I do think we're going to see that lightsaber on the field. Is that what we're going to get? We could also maybe get a no, we're going to see the Trooper instead. Okay. Yeah, he's going for the multiple small drops instead of piling everything on his Seventh Sister there. So we get the Seasoned Shore Trooper. 2 cost 2/3. While you control 6 or more resources, this unit gets +2 power. Backed up by Benthic 2 Tubes. 1 cost 2/2. On attack, another friendly aggression unit gains raid 2 for this phase. It gets +2 power while attacking. Ooh, another Han Reluctant Hero shows up and defeats the Seventh Sister there. That is definitely, I think, a scenario where that fallen lightsaber might have done better for might have done better there for Faith. Now he might be in a bit of a no, no, no. So he tries to play another benthic two tubes, but I point out that it's unique. All right, things have shifted a bit. It may now be moving more towards Endless's favor with that seventh sister defeated quickly by Han without having much impact on the board. Fallen lightsaber now equipped to the seasoned shore trooper though. So currently a 4-3 base, then gets thanks to Faith controlling six or more resources, then gets +3/+3. So it's actually going to be a 7-6. It could hit the base for 7, put it on 19. That would put it on 6 life remaining. We could then see the Raider. This could actually be lethal this turn. Unless Endless takes out some of the units here, this could be a nasty scenario. Second fallen lightsaber. Second fallen lightsaber on the seasoned shore trooper. The seasoned shore trooper dual wielding fallen lightsabers. He might be just what Faith needs to close this game. Can Endless deal with it? I don't think he can. He doesn't have any resources because he played Han Reluctant Hero. The seasoned shore trooper plus the seasoned shore trooper plus the raider are actually that's lethal damage to base. That's lethal damage to base. It's over, dude. This is crazy, but he's got it. That is game. Victory for Faith here with IG-88, an unusual deck, at least compared to what I've seen from the hero before, with Faith skewing very heavily into later game cards. It seems like he's got three copies of he's got what is it? Three, yeah, maybe three Raiders, maybe three Vaders, Callus. Oh man, there's a lot. Crazy scenario. But he is able to get the win with a seasoned shore trooper attacking and destroying the rebel base with his dual wield lightsabers. Bit of a wacky scenario there in terms of Star Wars lore, but you know what? A win is a win. So Faith is able to pull through on that one. Let's go on to the next round, the rematch. This time, Endless will be going first, I believe. Going to be two for a Lothal Insurgent, two cost 3/2. So when played, if you played another card this phase, each opponent draws a card, then discards a random card from their hand. Not going to be relevant in this situation because it was the only card played. We do see the initiative taken then by Endless. No copies of Shoot First to allow this Lothal Insurgent to clear the First Legion Snowtrooper without taking damage, but could be worse. We could see Endless play the Echo Base. We could see an Echo Base Defender play here. No, it's going to be he's going for a more aggro style here. Plays the Fleet Lieutenant, 3 cost 3/3. When played, you may attack with the unit. If it's a rebel unit, it gets +2/+0 for this attack. Plays that Fleet Lieutenant and sends in a 5 damage attack to the Imperial base. The Snowtrooper Lieutenant decides to trade for the Lothal Insurgent there. Then we see a forced choke clearing the Fleet Lieutenant. Interestingly, Faith is playing this a little more defensively, kind of playing like the control player in this environment rather than the aggro player. We'll see if that ends up working for him. He does have a pretty strong late game, so maybe that's the style that he's going, much less focused on the early pressure. I'm not entirely sure IG-88 is the best leader for that, but it could be working out. Consortium Star Viper here for Endless. 3 cost 3/3. Well, you have the initiative. This unit gains Restore 2. Oh, gets wrecked though. An Imperial Interceptor. Four cost 3/2. When played, you may deal 3 damage to a space unit. That is an excellent counter. That is an excellent counter to the Consortium Star Viper, and indeed, the Star Viper is wiped off the board. And the Interceptor now has space supremacy, at least for now. The Consortium Star Viper is a good counter to early small fighters. Things like the TIE Fighter, A-Wing, X-Wing, stuff like that. But this Imperial Interceptor is a very good counter to it in return, as is the Azotech Liberator gunship, which is not widely used, arguably the Millennium Falcon as well. Ezra Bridger hits the field. IG-88 hits the field. Endless makes a temp resource. IG-88 hits Endless's base for 5. Echo base defender on the field. 3 cost 4/3 with Sentinel. Very strong card in my opinion. Well, one of few Sentinel units to not have to not have either Sentinel as only a conditional factor or stats below the curve, or both. Let's see here. All right. Interceptor hits the base for 4. Han deploys. Now the thing here is Han can actually just attack and defeat IG-88. I sort of feel like Endless, like Faith might have done better by playing the Fallen Lightsaber in hand on IG-88 to make it so that Han couldn't clear him so easily. Um, oh, oh, that is spicy. Faith actually had a better play set up. He uses the Energy Conversion Lab, ambushes in with Fifth Brother. On attack, deals 1 damage to Fifth Brother and 1 damage to Han, which defeats him. And then the Fifth Brother is swinging for 3 because he has a damage on him to enable Raid 1, which allows him to clear the Echo Base Defender. Very nice 2-for-1 there from Faith. Very nice 2-for-1 there from Faith. Let's see how this goes. All right, Endless goes for the Wing Leader, buffing his Ezra Bridger, and also being a unit that can potentially oppose that Interceptor in the future. Wing Leader is a 3-cost 2/1, which is inefficient stats, but when played, give 2 experience tokens to another friendly Rebel unit. Very efficient maneuver. Partisan Insurgent swings for 3 on Ezra. Ezra swings into the base, inflicting 5 damage. Okay, okay. Overwhelming Barrage here. Give a friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase. Deals damage equal to its power divided as you choose among any number of other units. Interceptor clears the board and then swings in for 6. Once again, we're left with a single Interceptor as the only unit on the field. Endless deploys an Echo Base Defender, only for it to be ambushed by Darth Vader. Darth Vader commanding the First Legion, 7 cost 5/7 with Ambush. When played, search the top 10 cards of your deck for any number of Imperial units with combined cost 3 or less and play each of them for free. Very relevant card there. Let's see how this goes. Vader swings on in and clears the defender, and his combined cost of 3 was a Death Star Stormtrooper, one cost 3/1, and General Tag, two cost 2/2. When played, give an experience token to each up to 3 troopers, and Endless is caught without units in hand. He claims to see what he draws, but he is taking some major damage. IG-88's ability used there to allow the interceptor to attack with +1 damage. We do see a Han Solo reluctant hero that Endless can play here, take out Vader, but it's not going to be enough. The remaining smaller units from Faith are sufficient to close the game, so we're going to see a win here for IG-88. We're going to see a win for IG-88, I think. Let's see how it goes. That is game. Yeah, Faith manages to get the win here. His an unusual IG-88 deck, but it's doing quite well. It is doing quite well. Let's see if the players end up doing a game 3. If so, I will continue streaming. So let's see how this goes. Or not streaming, I am recording this commentary. It is not being live streamed. Let's see how this goes. All right. Let's see how this continues. They may actually have decided just not to do a round 3. I'll ask them in chat. They are going to do it. Let's see what happens. See if Endless can pick up a win here. See if Endless can pick up a win here in a this Han versus IG-88 match. Let's see how this goes. Partisan Insurgent. Endless uses Han for a temporary resource and brings out Ezra Bridger. More than a match for that Partisan Insurgent, I believe. But we will see how exactly it goes. I think there's a good chance that we have Endless attack the Partisan Insurgent with Ezra, and then use Admiral Akbar to do the final damage there. I think that. Oh no, he's going to resource Akbar. That's a surprise to me. That's probably what I would have gone for playing this turn. But we'll see how it goes. Ezra should probably take out the first Legion Snowtrooper that was just played, and indeed he does. And then we now gets to look at his top card. It is a strike. True, he could play it here, but he's not going to. But he's not. Partisan Insurgent swings for 1 now that the other aggression unit that was on field was defeated by Ezra. Greedo hits the field. I think Faith took the initiative, and then Lothal Insurgent. If you played another card this phase, your opponent draws a card, then discards a random card from their hand. Discards the Interceptor. That's an important card. Could be very valuable in the future for this matchup. So I think Endless is probably happy to see an Interceptor go. We will see how things continue here. There's a resource card. The partisan insurgent defeats Greedo, and Greedo misses the top deck. Ezra Bridger attacks and defeats Greedo, so Endless gets to look at his top card. Let's see what we see here. It's going to be the Millennium Falcon. He should absolutely play that. He should absolutely play that. No, he discards it. What is he doing? What is he doing? Why would he discard the Falcon here? A Wow, interesting. Faith actually uses his energy conversion lab to ambush the Lothal insurgent with a seasoned short trooper. And Endless plays the Falcon. Oh, that is such a gaffe. Why did he discard the Falcon that he could play from the top of the deck just to play the one from hand? If he plays the one from the top of the deck instead of the one from hand, he's just up a card with no downside. Oh man. That was an error from Endless. No disrespect, Endless. If you're listening to this, I'm not trying to insult you, but I think playing the one from hand from deck is card advantage. Playing the one from hand, I guess to be fair, discarding the one from the top of the deck. No, it doesn't even accelerate him towards seeing other cards because if he plays it, it's also not on top of the deck. So yeah, I do think that was a substantial error, unfortunately. Okay. Agent Callus arrives, defeating Ezra and drawing a card. Not a lot for Endless to do here. He might just end up getting. I think he's got to temp resource his Spark of Rebellion and then bring out Han. That's probably what I do. Looks like he's going to go for a swing with the Millennium Falcon hitting the base first. IG-88 deploys. Han's ability probably being used here. Whoa! He didn't resource the Spark of Rebellion. He resourced Strike True. I would have assumed that he was going to use that this turn. Okay. Well, Han IG-88 hits the base. Han arrives. Spark of Rebellion. I guess he values seeing the hand and clearing key cards. But he sees a nasty hand with two copies of Darth Vader, an overwhelming barrage, and a forced choke. He decides he's got to take the overwhelming barrage. I think that's a reasonable play because that's the only card there that can be played for really high value on this next turn. So now Han probably wants to attack and clear Callus, or IG-88. I think clearing Callus is arguably better, but IG-88 is worth more damage. But if he clears Callus, he will prevent his opponent from getting a card draw on this next turn. Endless now, uh, in a in trouble, I think, but we'll see. Callus takes out Han. That's going to be a card draw there for Faith, and we'll probably see that seventh sister that was just drawn being played out this turn. Endless surprise strikes the base with the Falcon, doing 6 damage. We do see a seventh sister, Implacable Inquisitor, 5 cost 3/6, Force Imperial Inquisitor with Saboteur. And when this unit deals combat damage to an opponent's base, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit that opponent controls. We then have Consortium Star Viper, 3 cost 3/3 with Restore 2, initiative taken by Faith. We haven't seen another overwhelming barrage, and Seventh Sister can only hit ground units. It's possible that Endless's space aggression is going to ultimately get the win. Yeah, actually, Faith is bereft of answers to space units here. He really has very little he can do about them. Force choke does not work on it only works on non-vehicle units. Vader gets deployed here with no ambush, searching the top 10 for any number of Imperial cards combined cost 3 or less and play each of them for free. Might end up giving him some relevant units. We'll have to see. So we see a fifth brother being played as the unit from Vader there. Agent Callus shows up and takes out the fifth brother, drawing a card for Endless. Battlefield Marine. The seventh sister hits the base for 3, and when she deals damage to an opponent's base, can deal 3 damage to a ground unit that opponent controls, defeating Endless's Agent Callus. Endless now in a position that to deal 6 damage in space, and there's not a lot that Faith can do about it. 3 damage to base, 6 damage to base. If Endless draws a surprise strike or even a shoot first, he could close the game this turn with those space units, assuming that. Oh, but we finally see an answer. There's the overwhelming barrage. Faith had one of those get sniped out earlier, but now he's going to be able to play the second one and actually clear both of those space units, which I think is going to put him back in the driver's seat to win this game. There's the barrage. 7 damage, both those space units off the field. And Endless now in big trouble. We see a Echo base defender hit the field, but unfortunately she is easily defeated by Seventh Sister, who uses Saboteur to sneak past the base. And then when this unit deals combat damage to an opponent's base, deals 3 damage to a ground unit that opponent controls, clearing out the Echo base defender. And now Vader's going to be able to attack for 7. I don't know. I think Endless has unfortunately lost this one. Initiative taken by Endless, base for 7. Ardent Sympathizer hits the field, and there are no outs there for Endless. That's going to be the game. Yeah, Endless concedes. 3-0 for IG-88. Faith has an unusual IG-88 deck, but he's getting the wins here. It looked for a moment. Now to be fair, if he had not had that barrage, I think he probably would have lost. But the barrage came just in time, even after having the first one picked off by Endless's Spark of Rebellion, and was able to get him the win. So interesting, very interesting situation. I do think Endless had a really major misplay with that Falcon and might have been able to win the game if not for that. But yeah, interesting situation there. Congratulations to Faith for getting some wins with IG-88, who I currently consider the weakest leader, but Faith is making some things happen. So yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thanks to y'all for watching. We'll be back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited content. I will catch you guys later.